Live before lock. Monday, November 19th. 9-gamer. Myself and the man to my left or straight in front of me or right on my screen, depending on how you want to do this. Left from my perspective, right from our perspectives on the screen looking back at ourselves. What's going on, Eddie?
Not a lot. How you doing? Yesterday went fairly well for the basketball. I think most of y'all were busy losing money at football, so you didn't want to win that money at basketball yesterday. But it went pretty well.
Yeah, I was certainly busy losing it in football and not playing any basketball.
Yeah, I got that from a lot of people.
Yeah. And then Saturday I was busy breaking even, which is fantastic for the amount of work that I put in.
Yeah, losing almost feels better. One of the worst is like I was up 10 grand and I ended even. You're like,
depends what time you were up 10 grand.
No, that's true. If it was 10 minutes before the end, that is pretty bad beats.
Very true. Very true. Whew, lots to go over here. For those that care, I've just updated my projections and put Russell Westbrook in. And I believe that we just got the news. Danilo Gallinari out.
What?
Avery Bradley will play.
What? God damn it. Okay. I was going to have rankings in 30 seconds. It's going to be about 90 seconds now.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. Let's update this stuff right now.
Let's update stuff together. Yeah, that's somewhat tilter.
I had Avery Bradley already in, so that's not so bad. But didn't expect the Gallo being out.
Yeah, that's the first game. I really wonder how they start this now. And they'll start like Bradley's in. So did they start 3 guards?
You gotta figure Mike Scott gets a lot of love here now.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Gilgeous-Alexander is pretty long, if you will. So you can start Beverly, Gilgeous-Alexander, Bradley, Tobias, Gortat, which is interesting. I wonder if we get a lineup before like that. Is very interesting news. I'm gonna have to go review some notes here now. That's fascinating right there.
I gotta hit on the YouTube chat quick for a second. Marcos, you don't have to apologize for the previous chat. We didn't time you out. We started running a chat bot so that we can post some links, and it also had some features of like slowing people down. So you got caught in the crosshairs. Bill Butler got caught in the crosshairs. So we went ahead and disabled that. So you didn't, Marcos, you didn't do anything wrong. The bot just had no idea what was going on and just started tossing people.
Sorry, it just flashed in front of me. Someone in the chat said the doc said 3 guards are starting. So I did. I'm not surprised. I did guess that one right. But yeah, that's there you go. Apparently they'll start exactly what I said there. So yeah, they'll start Bradley and Gilgeous-Alexander. And okay, so how's that going to match up? Sorry, I'm just like playing the whole game in my head now. It's Atlanta, which makes any matchups difficult because they play 13 guys and rotate frequently. So they're all fairly terrible. Trying to figure out who Bazemore will do to start to rank these guys. That's some usage to go around there. I was a big fan of Gallinari. I've been a big fan of his all year, and that's gone very well in general, by the way. In matchup with Atlanta, I was a big fan of 62-65 Danilo Gallinari.
Yeah. But I'm more wondering where in the hell these minutes go.
Well, right. That's. I think your Mike Scott call is the best of them. Like rather than getting minutes degrading, because one of the reasons I wasn't that interested in Lou Will was I was pretty sure Bradley was going to come back today, and that was going to take like 4 minutes off Lou Will, who had been getting priced up. Now it's still Luke Williams against Atlanta. Obviously, he can get 64 fantasy points in 21 minutes. Like it's Atlanta. Anything could have happened. So I would never have objected to someone playing Lou Williams. But now, it's not like Bradley's going to go out there and take a lot of shots. And it's not like Beverly goes out there and takes a lot of shots. It's not like Gortat goes out there and takes a lot of shots. And Gilgeous really isn't an offensive weapon. So do you literally have, Tobias Harris taking a shot and a half a minute? Like at this point, like, are you going to be like 30 minutes, 45 shots? Like he's going to put the rock up plenty. I'll just put it that way. So, you like Harris.
Is Sedarius Thornwell now available as a punt?
We're not doing that.
I'm running out of places to put minutes, and I've still got 20 more to assign to this team.
Well, did you not give any to Avery Bradley yet? Because that doesn't make sense.
I gave Avery Bradley those minutes at 9 o'clock this morning.
How many did you give?
He's playing 23.
Okay, so we'll keep Lou
I mean,
Williams.
he was playing 30 plus beforehand, but I can't see a scenario where he's just going to immediately get thrust into 30 minutes, right?
And you possibly get like some Harrell at the 4, something weird like that. But I think you give like 18 minutes to Mike Scott.
I gave him 24.
Okay, I don't understand. We're missing Gallinari. How many minutes did that free up?
32.
Okay, so now we're giving, if you give 24 to Mike Scott and 23 to Avery Bradley, who didn't play last game, how have you not used those minutes and then some?
I've already had Avery Bradley in. Mike Scott was already in for me for 14.
Okay,
so
okay, that's right. Okay, you gotta when you put Avery Bradley in, I presume you bumped down Beverly. Like, what do you have? Beverly, I would now put at 35. I bet you have him at 31.
Nah, I have him even way lower than that. So yeah, we
Right.
need to ramp up Bev.
Yeah, Beverly had gotten up to 39 in a game, remember, when they were man short. So that's where they sink some minutes just for defensive purposes. So
these guards are going to be damn tasty.
Yeah, several of them look tender and delicious.
I guess Lou Will's going to have to play like 30 and change.
I mean, I'd be surprised if you get that much, but maybe. I mean, we just haven't seen that ever this year, and they've been short. I don't think, has he played? Maybe I'm mistaken.
He played 32 a week ago, 33 a week ago, 36 a week ago.
You should get that again. For some reason, I thought he was seeing frequently 27, 28. But yeah, there's a 32, 33, 36 right in there in the middle when they were short lead. So yeah, I think that ends up being some of it. I thought they were keeping him under 30, but 3 in a row there, not the case.
Just Alexander could probably play like an extra minute or two.
Certainly. I mean, he's got the legs under him. He's a baby. He shouldn't have done that to just a boy.
Oh, man, this is fantastic. What's going on, everybody? Sorry. Get the Gallo news, and that's kind of big and affects literally everything. So working through that is...
Delete, put Mike Scott back in.
Yeah. Fire up Mike Scott, I think.
Is he the min? He's got to be cheap.
Mike Scott tonight is
34 on the Deke, 35 on FanDuel. I'm sure there's no way
he is 3,600 on FanDuel, 3,400 on DK.
Yeah, no, he's good, and the minutes and the usage are there, and he's I think what'd you say, 24 minutes? That's about where I'd have that.
I put him in for 24. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about the number. I like the sound of that. And I got to put Avery Bradley back in, who I had hedged out.
It's never a dull moment in the NBA, that's for sure.
Oh no, this is good. We got so what format are we going to do for today's shows? Obviously, there's some significant number of games. Have you seen how many games there are Wednesday and Friday?
Yeah, I'm glad that neither of those days are my responsibility.
Oh God, you randomly get off. Oh, you're so lucky.
Yeah,
you're gonna Spags and I are gonna have a party.
Yeah. All right, so I am uploading my projections right now for everyone. Enjoy.
I'm uploading my rankings for everyone in about, I'll go with 20 seconds. I think I got it all done now.
There you go. I'm going to run a fresh crunch and see what we get, too.
All right. I mean, you guys do, one of the nice things about just catching the content here, even if you're just looking at the free stuff here at Optimal, you have the overnight pod with, I think it was Lofty and Dan last night. You and Adam did an early show. Am I right?
We did.
Then the show we're just getting off, which ran an hour and a half of game to game. So while we're perfectly happy to discuss every game and I go over guys I really like or don't like and try to give my unique insights on the slate, as does Josh, we're perfectly happy to be the reflect, talk about specific situations, do more interesting things type of the show. I know there are some people who only see this show, which is obviously regrettable, but for those few people who are like, wait, I know nothing about this slate, I needed it all from you. That's going to be tough on nights like tonight with 9 games. And again, I think Wednesday and Friday are 14 and 13 games, which, I mean, come on now. I can't do that in 50 minutes and answer questions. I mean, that literally ends up being a minute and 10 seconds a team and 12 seconds a player. That's a rough one there. But yeah, so we'll be a little creative with our format tonight.
Here's what I think we can do. It's 6:15 right now. If we go 8 minutes per position, we'll get a little short. Let's do 7 minutes per position.
I'll try it. You're the host. If nothing else, we're learning. We're still early in the season, so you and I are rounding into form. We're like a married couple having sex for the first time. We have to find a rhythm and then improve as it goes on. So.
One day I'll get there. I don't mean from the hosting perspective either. I'll round into form eventually.
I was like, "You're married, man. That's sad."
I'll round into form eventually. Let's do it right now. 7 minutes on the clock. Point guards today. I'm gonna filter my list down. I have everything in front of me. I'm gonna drop my my favorite point guards of the day. We can play off of that. So I've been getting a lot of Ben Simmons. It gives me a lot of pause because I'm not entirely sure how to work this 3-man band we've got going in Philadelphia. But I am interested in it because they're playing the Suns, and the Suns are bad.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I do like it in tournaments. I think people are appropriately terrified, but Simmons had a decent game. Last game showing that there's still something there. He's not entirely a funnel off Mac. An upside can be hit. He's going to be, I think, the lowest owned of those three guys pretty significantly. Butler being the highest just due to the price. Let's see. He played him twice last year, both games in the 50-ish range, so that's fine. You hope the game stays close. I think it's fine. If you have like a lot of Simmons, if I'm you, if I have 10% Simmons, I'm feeling good about life because I think you're double the field. If you have like 30% Simmons, that's a bold take.
I do right now. I'm not planning on keeping that, however. Let me just be clear there. We're projecting him for 19, I believe. That's prior to this news, so it might adjust a little bit.
What are we projecting? Are we have like Embiid 25, Butler 35?
Butler, I'm speaking for FanDuel right now.
Okay.
I don't think it'll be all that much different. 21 for Butler on FanDuel, Embiid 14.
Interesting. Okay. See, at that point, I really enjoy the matchup. But if you're telling me they're that similarly owned, I do feel like Butler in the spot and Embiid in the spot are just a lot safer. And I really don't know if I'm going to get the 6. What does Simmons cost? 9 point?
He is 9,400 on FanDuel.
Yeah, I'm like, there's not the bonus and everything. I don't know. That's. I'm trying to think what the news that So now you have point Devin Booker, which is really interesting, which makes you love the shit out of Devin Booker at this point. Like now he's just touching the ball every play, and his price is down in the mid 7s. Like really got to like Devin Booker. I'm trying to think if that makes me like Simmons more. I think it does. So for a couple of reasons. One, I think the game stays closer now. You just get better players on the court. 2, I think it does pick up his defensive stat upside. So, okay, I can tolerate it. Not a spot I would have gone, but I certainly can appreciate you taking a stand in the place where you live.
Yeah, I'll be more than likely just with the field. It was just the first big number I saw in my exposure column. Sure. Here's one that I do have a lot of weight behind: Dennis Smith Jr. Sure. JJ Barea out. Wes Matthews game time decision. Dwight Powell out. So lots of additional minutes there. He's obviously not making this huge boost of minutes, but if he gets to something like 33 and his price is now depressed after a couple days of not the best, I like having him because I think he's better than what his price says.
Yeah, I think that's very good take. I don't think people will go there. Again, lots of other, just the Indiana news frees up a lot of other cheap point guards and guards. So I just don't think many people go there at all proportionally. And he's 5,000 on DK and 55 or something on FanDuel, 53, some very small number. Obviously, some concern going into Memphis. That's not the ideal matchup for you.
Right.
But yeah, hard to imagine he's going to hurt you too bad. I think I'd project him for like 28, but I'm not shocked if you randomly pick up a 40 burger here. I had 32 minutes, I think. So 32, 33, we're in the same ballpark there.
Yeah, I don't think he'll soak up too much from Barea. That's obviously going to go to like Devin Harris or Brunson or something.
We haven't done this by position thing in a while, so I got to figure out
I know. I just didn't see us having a feasible chance of getting through 9 games at this point. So
no. I thought this is I'm in it to win it. I'm fine. I think that's interesting. So let's see. Notes on random point guards off the top of my head. I think after Tyreek, Corey Joseph is probably my second favorite guy on the Pacers, just as price. He's 39 on DK. You can drop him on FanDuel where he's 41. Yeah. The last game where Depot only played 5 minutes or whatever it was, Kojo led the team in minutes. He played 30. He started the second half. Now he's back to coming off the bench. Tyreek will start, but there's a lot of ways that can work out for you. Again, another situation, much like when you're talking about Dallas, you're getting Utah. That's not something that is really making your socks roll up and down here, but
sure.
Cheap enough, and just Oladipo is a guy with a massive, massive usage rate. So I'm a big fan of just finding some pieces of this of just if I'm building 150 lineups, I have, I don't know, 8 Bojan Bogdanoviches and 5 Thad Youngs and 9 Domantas Sabonis and 7 Darren Collisons and 15 Corey Josephs and
150 Tyreeks.
I was going to say, and 75 to 150 Tyreeks, depending on what other news breaks between now and lock. Because I'd like to go somewhere else if I could. Obviously, the last game did not work out incredibly exciting for him. Got up to 25 minutes. A better matchup than this one, and didn't randomly manage to produce. And if we think he's going to be 40-something% owned, I don't feel the need to get on top of that. But it is just objectively in a vacuum a pretty good spot for him. I would think he's getting, I'll say, 31 minutes and project for 29 fantasy points or something. And at $4,100, it's pretty exciting. FanDuel a little more avoidable. I guess if we're talking about point guards, I'll just say De'Aaron Fox on DraftKings real quick.
That's if people aren't looking at De'Aaron Fox on DraftKings, you're probably doing something wrong today.
I'll go ahead and look at our ownership projections. I'll guess off the top of my head, 51.
You're high right now, but that could change. You're not like egregiously high or anything.
It's in the 40s, isn't it?
39 on my last refresh.
Interesting. Okay, that's I just refreshed it on DK and I got 66.
We might have just put out an update then.
No, that's Tyreek. That's Tyreek.
Oh.
Sorry. Tyreek is 66 for Tyreek. Jiminy, I want to go somewhere else then. Like,
nowhere to go.
There's always somewhere to go.
He can legitimately break the slate today. That's the problem.
No, he definitely can, but 60, like if we I thought 50 to 55. That was my guess when we talked about this a little while ago. I mean, if the honest projection is that he's going to be somewhere around 60-something% on. I mean, I guess the theory is he's starting. How badly can he hurt you? But it is the Jazz. Like, it is a legitimately bad matchup. Like, what do the odds have to be that he tanks before it makes sense to try to go somewhere else, or at least lower your exposure? Like against the Jazz, what are the odds he gets under 20 fantasy points? I'll say 25%, 30%. So non-zero number that he gets under 20 fantasy points. I would say 1 and 4 to 1 and 3. In that,
you said under 20?
Under 20, 19.95 fantasy points. I don't know if you can do that on DraftKings. 19 point, I guess not in like non-captain mode, but under 20 fantasy points.
Give me 1 second, okay?
Sure. I love that you somehow have a way of computing this.
I do. I already have my sim built, so I just have to run.
What percentage? I love it. But I'm curious what your thing comes up with. I think about a quarter of the time. Has to be.
This is going to be FanDuel. Not that it matters all that much. It's
noted, slightly different. 3-point more for turnovers. He will generally be a little higher on DK for Tyreek, but noted.
Under 20. I have him under 20 8.5% of the time, 8.7% of the time. That's in 4,000 sims, so call it 8.5, somewhere in the 9% range.
Less than I thought then. I'll still take higher than that, but I'm sure it's less than I thought then, because you're obviously running, a curve and models and metrics and looking at his distribution, and you can get that number better than I can off the top of my head. So I'll refer to you there, but...
Wait, what did you say it was?
I'm sorry?
What was your prediction?
Like a quarter.
Okay. So this will definitely be higher because there's no mechanism to say, like, he got hurt or he's in foul trouble. Like, this is just, straight bell curve type stuff. So it's higher than that because downside is different.
Right. He just did it against Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like, he just got 15 or 16 or whatever fantasy points he did in 24 minutes with Oladipo basically out against Atlanta. So I don't think that's frequent. I do think more often than not he's greater than 20, and I think there's at least like a 30-40% chance he's above 30. Like, clearly it can go very, very well for you, but I guess I'll just leave it at that. But I think, he just did it against basically the best matchup you can possibly have, or top 3. Top 5, I guess. You probably want the Bulls more. You probably want Phoenix more. But it's
we blew through 7 minutes.
Okay, so point guards, other things to talk about. Drew Holiday's finding cash. You mentioned that. Doncic is interesting in tournaments. Kojo I brought up. I like Mike Conley a lot. We'll count Devin Booker as a point guard. All the Devin Booker.
Point guard?
Well, he is, I think, point guard eligible on DK.
He is.
Okay, so I saw his name and said, I guess we'll count him. He's starting at point guard tonight. That's what triggered it for me. DK, I guess you can Trae Young in tournaments. So I really want to avoid Atlanta. I don't like the matchup and whatever. But I guess that's the spot to take a guy like Trae Young. He can make some threes, get some assists, pick up some steals. And Dennis Schroeder is point guard eligible. I think Russell Westbrook plays. Doesn't make much sense. This is playing out this way if he doesn't. But with Tyreek ownership, best Pacers pivot. Yeah, I mean, Kojo is the cashier of the Pacers pivots, and I think he ends up being probably the third highest owned Pacer after Tyreek and Sabonis, I think is going to pick up. I'm curious I'm going to go look at the projections. But looking for Pacers. Tyreek on top, and then it goes down quite a ways to get to your second Pacer here. Wow. Thad at 4. I was going to say was the other guy you could think of. Thad is obviously wicked cheap. Yeah, Thad at 4 they have next. Then Miles Turner they have. I know Sabonis is expensive, but if you just do your simple run the crunch, he's the guy who picks up so much of this usage, and they spend more time with him next to Thad now. He'll definitely get those 5 minutes there. But yeah, then Collison is your cashy move there. Moving on to either Thad is your tournament move at the same price. If you want to spend a little more, Miles Turner has been surprisingly good against Gobert in the past.
Any other point guards you want to hit?
I'm looking at all the various screenshots. You can still Bryn Forbes on FanDuel. Matchup with New Orleans is pretty stellar. Still $3,600. Gave more than 20 last night. Wouldn't be shocked if it happened again. And I'm out. I think I'm out after that.
The shooting guard we go. Cliff Note shooting guard list from me, and then I'll toss it over to Eddie.
Okay.
Jimmy Butler is a guy that's coming up for me as much as Ben Simmons was previously. He's projected for 21% ownership. I'm going to be at least with the field, if not a little higher. Again, Phoenix is just too tasty of a matchup. I like Devin Booker quite a bit, shooting guard on FanDuel. Lou Will, now that this Clippers news has happened, is back in business for me. I'll have some Bazemore, some Monty Morris, and a little bit of Avery Bradley as a punt.
I am fine with all of those things. Brogdon in a matchup we like is more of a sort of a cashy play, but wouldn't kill me. You mentioned Lou Will. Buddy Hield is 5.6 on DK. That's a little ridiculously low. Redick against Phoenix makes some sense. Probably just tournaments for me. Gary Harris I like a lot. DK price especially 6'1". Shooting guard, especially a guy with a mid range, is sort of the hole in the Milwaukee defense that we've been seeing quite a bit of. You can certainly Donovan Mitchell, especially at the DK price, where that whole team is priced way the hell down. And Dennis Schroeder, I still like at FanDuel at that reduced price. DK is 8.1. You can sort of stay away there now. I do think Westbrook plays, but especially on FanDuel, you're taking a number of angles here. One is Westbrook may not play. 2 is Abrinas is out, and Ferguson is questionable, I think, with an illness. So if he goes out, I don't know how many minutes they're going to throw at Hamidou Diallo there. But anything that isn't there, that could end up leading to, even if Westbrook is in, still getting 29 minutes of Schroeder, which you can still get on top of in that matchup. So I don't hate keeping some exposure there, and I guess we'll call that a day.
That was quick.
I like that. Point guard, 11 minutes. Shooting guard, 11 seconds.
Yeah, we still 5 minutes left on the 7-minute clock for shooting guard.
We'll come back to it. I like turboing through, and then anything we miss, people hit us over the head with questions.
That works for me then. Let's hop to small forward.
All right.
Let me refilter this DK list. Perfect. All right, so on FanDuel, I'm going to have some Giannis because there's so much value on the slate now that it would be silly to avoid him. He's 27% expected ownership on FanDuel. I didn't love him all that much this morning, so I'm actually coming in at half of the exposure of the public. Just heavier on some other studs. I'll have some TJ Warren, some Gordon Hayward. I don't know what to do with Rudy Gay, but I want to play him a lot.
Sure.
I just... whether or not he's on the floor is neither here nor there. And then Tyreek Evans is a small forward on FanDuel, so I have him at 65% of my lineups. We're projecting him at 60. I'll take whatever I can get at 4,700. I can't imagine getting hurt by that. Even if he puts up 20, I'm fine with it. I'm not happy, but he's gonna have to not play for it to be a problem.
Someone is mentioning to me in the premium select that Ferg is out and Abrinas is sick. I think I have it right, but if I have it wrong, it really doesn't matter. They're interchangeable and awful. Like one of
I
them
think
is
you do have it flip-flopped, actually.
oh, okay. Then I apologize. Thank you for correcting me, Ray and Josh. They're awful, but when one is out and the second one might be out, again, you can play Hamidou Diallo, who I'm sure is the third one who would be healthy and did start the last game. Um, and again, it gives you some safety behind that Schroeder played shooting guard if you wanted to keep some exposure there. But thank you for getting me straight on that. I will against my better judgment look up more about those guys.
Yeah, it doesn't make much of a difference which one is which in this whole equation. Neither one of them are that particularly interesting. I don't care which one has a tummy ache.
Yeah.
Um,
We're on small forward, right?
Yeah, Dorian Finney-Smith as a punt is also feasible for me, but I mean, so much of my exposure is just going to Tyreek Evans right now that there's not a lot of other exposure getting spread.
Finney-Smith is legendary. I do have to say he has now had 2 good games this year. He has legitimately had 2 good games this year. I would still never, ever, ever play Dorian Finney-Smith against Memphis. That's just not going to happen for me. If that randomly happens and you get beat, but he is a incredibly bad fantasy. He's well south of the TJ Leaf line. He is a 0.6 fantasy point per minute career guy. He is the last guy on this team I'm going to among the starters. I'm certainly playing Harrison Barnes before him. I'm certainly playing Dennis Smith Jr. before him. I'm certainly playing DeAndre Jordan before him if I had to, and I really don't like his spot. But I'm just fading 9-point game. Again, at this point, I'd have more interest because Tyreek is going to, as you just mentioned, gobble a ton of that ownership. So I like him more at 6% owned than the 16 he would have been otherwise. But yeah. I'm still just fading and putting up like an 8 burger.
That's very, very, very reasonable. Who's your top small forward on DraftKings today?
Oh, it might be Tobias Harris now. Give me a second. Let me look at the somewhat comprehensive list and look at this for a second. Oh, it's actually probably Tyreek Evans. Can I go past that?
Yeah.
Okay, after Tyreek Evans.
Yeah, that one doesn't count.
Yeah, I was about to say that one doesn't count. There's a few I like, including the multi-position eligible guys there, but I will go with Tobias Harris at this point. There is just the upside for just a stupid volume. The matchup doesn't get any better. Gallinari being out also makes the game closer, which helps him. I'll go with Little Toby. He's not cheap, but I'm a fan of Toby. Some of the other guys, Jeremy Lamb at 5.1 makes a lot of sense. I'd rather go there than Batum, where I think some people go. You can play Redick at the 3, so that still makes some sense. Jimmy Butler, you can also play at the 3. DeRozan, you can play at the 2 and the 3. That's just tournaments for me. But disappointing in the first game the Spurs had with the Pellies. But again, a guy who carries a massive upside, and the ownership just won't be there today. Buddy Hield, you can play 2 and the 3 at 5.6. That makes a massive amount of sense for me. And Giannis for me. I like Giannis significantly more than Anthony Davis today, and that's rare for me. But I would play Giannis over Brow straight up.
What would you do with Rudy Gay tonight? Now that we're talking about small forwards, he's 5,300 on DraftKings. Great price point if he's playing.
Yeah, it's an incredible price point. Feel free to make a spot. Again, there's, I like him a fair amount. How many minutes did he play yesterday? I do not have that.
I have that in front of me. Hold on.
Okay, pull that one up for me.
Rudy Gay played 30 minutes.
Okay, so that's I'm a little bit nervous there, but I don't think they just want to give up this game. And Aldridge played 40, and how many guys are they actually going to sit? So, yeah, I think he's interesting in tournaments on FanDuel where he's 56, 57. I want to say is something.
FanDuel.
Yeah.
FanDuel Rudy Gay is 61, I think. Nope, 59. Okay. 59.
Okay, and then DK 53. I'm fine with you leaving a spot and having a plan in the event he doesn't start. I'm trying to think of other guys around that price point. He's a 3-4, so $5,300 guys who are playing late. What time is their game versus? I know it's a fairly late game. It's an 8-er. Another nice day, by the way, where we have 9 games. 8 of them start within an hour of lock.
I know, that's perfect.
That's gorgeous. So, so they're one of the 8ers there. So I'm just trying to find decent guys you can hold on and have that pivot spot for. If you have the $200, just leave the room and go to Harrison Barnes. I think is a perfectly reasonable plan. So,
yeah, there's Luckily for the DK peeps, having 3 games at 8 o'clock makes it really helpful if you want to keep Rudy Gay in there and then make a decision afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're so short-handed right now. I'd be so surprised if they sat him.
Yeah, then I think that's likely, and Pop hasn't seen. I mean, the only team that plays today and plays tomorrow is the Clips. For what it's worth, I hadn't heard that mentioned previously, so that's something I think worth mentioning there. But a couple teams actually on back-to-back from yesterday, obviously. So, yeah, I like leaving the spot and then moving if he isn't starting. Like, I like him more when he is playing off the bench. If you got confirmation he's playing off the bench, he is distinctly more valuable coming off the bench. But yeah.
Yeah, for some reason, YouTube chat is freaking out as if they know for a fact Rudy Gay isn't playing. It is very much up in the air, people. I promise you that.
Yeah, I haven't seen. Avery Bradley's starting, by the way, so they are going, with that triple guard thing, just to confirm it again.
Wild stuff right there.
Little people.
Do you have anybody else you want to touch on from a small forward perspective on either DK or FanDuel?
Well, TJ Warren is a small forward on at least one of the sites.
He's 7,000 on FanDuel right now, 6,400 on DK.
McCall Bridges is a small forward.
He is.
He's getting a start now. I don't know what he costs on FanDuel, but DK is 4,000. He's got 2 of his last 3 games were fairly good. You like to see the minute security there makes you a little happier. The start makes you feel pretty good. Like the last 3 games he had, sort of top of my heading this, but like 3 games of like 19, 24, and 28 minutes. If you know that he's coming towards that, I'll just take a look rather than approximate it. But
I have him in for 27 right now. He's 4,200 on FanDuel. He's fine. It's
26, 25, and 31.
It's better for him to not be starting.
I think I agree with that. And the other thing that's interesting is he is steal blocking over his head a little bit.
Yeah.
Like in the last 3 games, he played 3 games ago, played 26 minutes, had 3 combined steals and blocks, got up to 27.5 on DK. 2 games ago, only had 1 block, had no steals, only 13 fantasy points in 25 minutes. And last game, 4 steals and 2 blocks, fouled out in 31 minutes, and got up to 32 fantasy points. But that number of stocks, whereas he's a good guy, he can get more in a steal a game and something close to that in blocks. That is a bit of an overperformance. The price is up a little bit. So if you're going to play him, he's a little more exciting. And then TJ Warren has just been getting infinite minutes. And, the fact that they actually moved Bridges into the starting lineup was really good news for him. Like, you were a bit nervous about that price that had been coming up, but he was playing 36 to 40 minutes. Last 4 games, 37, 40, 38, 40. And fantasy points, 42, 35, 43, 35.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty productive there. And I like him out on the wing in this particular matchup. Once Covington's out of town. But, you were concerned, okay, everyone's getting back and getting healthy. They're giving more, that those minutes were going to decline, but certainly doesn't seem likely right now. So a little more comfortable paying that 6,400 on Warren, certainly.
Yeah, I like him more at that $6,400 price point. But yeah, for Bridges, there's so between TJ Warren and Booker, there's not going to be a lot of shots to be found for Bridges in the starting lineup.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And again, Tyreek Evans is a 3 who costs, a few $100 more on FanDuel and $100 more on DK. So tough to find that room, per se.
It's an interesting spot. I like having a little bit of him because obviously he's cheap and it's not a problem. But you got to watch out. TJ Warren and Devin Booker both like to shoot.
Yeah, they're going to handle the ball in place.
Do you have anything else on small forward?
Not off the top of my head.
Moving good. Now, power forward. This is the most stacked position on the slate for me. I've got quite a bit of AD, Blake, Aldridge, Tobias Harris now, a little Montrezl. I get like an oddly large amount of Marvin Williams. Not like, same as the public, 13%, but it's just weird that it's standing out for me like that. How much Mike Scott would you be comfortable with?
Yeah, that's interesting. Comfortable is a tough go. Obviously, they're not giving him the start, which knocks down some of the super minute upside. Like, Mike Scott is a quality basketball player when he plays. He's a fantasy point a minute guy.
Yeah.
Even a hair over wouldn't surprise me. So comfortable with, I'm figuring you're going to be well over the field at 10% or something. So like if I'm you and I'm running 150 lineups, I have, 15 to 20 Mike Scott lineups, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. 3,400, how much is he going to hurt me? FanDuel, and again, you're playing FanDuel where like I really like playing Blake and Tobias Harris. I like some of the spend up options a lot. And as you mentioned, there's a lot of mid-price guys who like power forward is pretty stacked. So I have a feeling just playing however much sort of comes naturally is gonna be fine. Like if you ended up with 20%, I wouldn't poop myself. Like I think you're just fine there. But there's a number of power forwards that are pretty interesting. Go ahead and get
Any revenge narrative for Mike Scott coming back to Atlanta?
that's right. Well, he's got some stops in between, so I don't know how to quantify that. So I'll just move on.
I do. We just won't.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Not for Mike Scott in this particular spot. But
right,
look, I have him in for 20% right now.
Talking about other guys, what do you think about Paulie Millsap? What do you think about some of these other power forwards?
It's weird. Like Millsap was a guy that stood out a lot this morning for us. Adam and I talked about him a bit. Like, I just don't see the need now. Would it shock me if he blew up? No, not at all. But now that there's so much value on the entire slate, someone like Paul Millsap is just gone for me. He's barely a thing. Rudy Gay in, so everybody around can swing from it.
Everybody get gay. Back on the man pile. So, Millsap did go nutters in this matchup just a week ago or whatever. He had when these two teams played 7 or 8 days ago, he had 50 fantasy points. So that was his game. Like he just did that and looked very comfortable doing so. So FanDuel, the price is, really cheap. 58, 59. His price is way the hell down there. So, I would just point out that there's, normally you're not sure you can get to that number. He just did it. And he also did it, by the way, with like 25 real points and no steals. And like, I'm going to look up that game log, but he didn't have any like non-repeatable phenomena 7 steal bullshit. 6 for 14 from the field, 5 of 8 from 3. I guess that's the sort of, goofy part of a Paul Millsap line, but 25, 8 and 6, no steals, 2 blocks, 50 on DK. So I'm just saying, I'd want a fair amount of 50. I mean, he's just underpriced, and obviously that can't happen. It just happened a week ago. So
yeah,
I like a lot of power forwards, but I think I'd be trying to hold on to like 15% if I was you. Due to your silence, I have a feeling it's north of where you are at this moment.
I have 5% right now.
Yeah, so I wouldn't kill yourself. I do think that is a ceiling performance. 5 out of 8 from 3 is not something you see out of Paul Millsap a lot here. It was a more quiet Jokic game. The starters in that game Wancho took 5. The other stars took 14, 14, 14, and 16 shots. Normally Millsap's going to take 9. Those other guys are going to take more. But it is an offense that sort of funnels you to that spot, a defense rather, in Milwaukee. So I kind of like that spot for him. I really like the spot for Jokic while we're discussing the game. I know we're supposed to be going by position, but I'm just a rebel. I like to break the rules.
We're okay. We're at 642, just the center to come. We're good. And I love Jokic. He's one of my favorite plays of the day. Okay.
So, yeah, just a monster slot. If he decides to do it, they don't have anyone who can stop him. I'll just put it that way. Sort of like Giannis on the other side. Paul Millsap really can't guard Giannis, and Juancho really can't guard Giannis, and Gary Harris is a great defender, but he's little, and they just really don't have anyone who's going to stop Giannis if he decides to do it. It's sort of the same thing with Jokic. And center versus Bucks has been a thing for a while. Yeah. Slightly less of a thing in the Budenholzer D than the previous Kid, etc. years.
That makes sense.
But and when they played earlier this year, Jokic didn't have the best game. I think he had 45. I was just looking at that log, so I might as well go back to it. That was also the weird Brolo game, but Jokic had 41 in that game in 29 minutes, which a little disappointing, but whatever. It's not like that's the worst thing in history. And when they played last year, I remember he had like an 80 or something. I'll look it up, but it's unsurprisingly a very big boom, log, Jokic, click, Bucks. Last year they played twice. He had 65.3 and 82.3 on DK. So, stuff.
So stuff.
and yeah, like I still like some exposure to Brolo, FanDuel at 59, DK at 52. Again, just last week he put up whatever it was, 8 for 12, 8 for 13 from 3. That was this game. So
dude loves shooting threes now. I'm so happy for him.
That's great. I love seeing stuff like that because there's I'm old and not terribly athletic, and if he can learn to do things better, so can I. So
yeah, he's changed his whole career.
Yeah, he really has.
He was about to be phased out of the league.
He really was. They were like, "Oh, we trade him. No one will take him." Then New Jersey stuck with back when they were New Jersey stuck with his contract.
Yeah,
that worked out. Like
Shout out to the Lakers for not bringing him back. Although I guess you can't complain too much. JaVale has been very good for them so far.
Yeah, you gotta give them credit for it's like when everyone trashed the Knicks for drafting Kristaps. I don't know who remembers that, but it's the biggest thing. Everyone in the world hated Phil Jackson. It was like, oh my God, he's such shit now.
Yeah.
He drafted this guy. It's like everyone sort of forgot.
Yeah.
And that was Phil's call.
Yeah, look, I mean, the Lakers would probably be better off having Lopez, just from like a modern day NBA type standpoint, or just like having them both even and having an actual other center.
If you're going to build a team with LeBron James and Rondo on it, you want people who can make 3-pointers, not JaVale McGee. So,
I'm happy for JaVale, but
no, I'm happy for him too. I love, again, I'm a big goofy guy. He's a big goofy guy who got better. I can get better. It's the same thing.
You ready to hit center?
Sure. Well, anything we missed, people jump back on questions.
Yeah, I don't think this one's terribly difficult to talk about. Obviously, I'm coming from a bit of a FanDuel slant, but it's all going to hold up. There's enough value out there right now that there are guys at the top of this list that are simply better than everybody else, in my opinion. Joel Embiid, Andre Drummond, Nikola Jokic. I love all three of those guys. I love Jokic the most. I'm fine with going to someone like Brook Lopez in this spot. The inverse could be fine. He could knock down those threes. But I want to concentrate my ownership at the high end for center tonight.
Yeah, I like Gobert a lot. I think he's like 7-9 on FanDuel. But there is a giant upside there, and he's been extremely good in both the micro and macro matchups here. I really like him on DK. Both he and actually Miles Turner, the Odometer, which is still my favorite nickname in the history of sports. Miles Turner, the Odometer, so good.
I didn't get it at first. I was like, dude, I'm going to need you to fill me in on whatever this is.
You didn't chuckle for me, so I ran it back. But yeah, that's the best nickname. But both produce above their averages against each other pretty significantly, and they can't defend each other that well. So I don't mind Miles Turner in tournaments.
It's too cheap on DK.
Especially when you take Depot out of there. Yeah. Now, maybe I'll get some time. I'll do some operating. But, 7K Gobert on DK feels really solid for me. He was very good both times last year. I will look up those numbers, but I'm sure they were in the 40s or 50s. So yeah, I like him. Another guy I would mention there. I have some very legitimate concern, I think. Let's see, 2 games last year, Gobert, 45 and 55 on DK. So look at that, 50 on average on the 50 on the average. Did that part in my head.
You have concern about what?
Anthony Davis. He's bad against the Spurs. I mean, he's bad against. We'll just pull up some numbers real quicker, but he's bad against the Spurs, and they really concentrate on taking him out, including they played once this year, and he was bad against the Spurs. He was the 3rd highest scoring guy in the Pelicans in 30 whatever the hell odd minutes. He played 40 minutes against the Spurs this year, had 44 fantasy points in that one game. Here are his fantasy points in the last 2 seasons against the Spurs. There's one game where I believe he was injured in this game. It's Anthony Davis. Seems like a decent chance. But no, it was 30 minutes. He had 19 DK points. But we'll ignore that one because I'm not sure exactly what went on there. But 30 minutes, 19 DK points. Here's the other 7 games he's played against in the last 2 years. 47, 47, 52, 50, 44, 55, 44. So ceiling of 55 in those 8 games. I'll ignore the 19, although I think it may just have been that bad of a game now that I look at it. He played 30 minutes. He's averaging 47, 48. Like, this is not nearly as good as a defensive team as they have been in the past, but this is sort of like we talked out with Giannis against the Dubs and a couple other, guys I bring up where they really, sell out to stop this guy. And Aldridge does a halfway decent job with the body of just not letting him get in ideal position, makes the alley-oops a little bit harder. He ends up being more of a shooter. With so many other, I would rather play Giannis. I would rather play Embiid. It's obviously Anthony Davis. He puts up 80 tonight. I would be slightly surprised, but not incredibly so. But that's enough of a consistent record of inefficiency and poor production where he has not paid off the price he has now in 2 years. I'll wait to see him do it once until I go back there on a 9-game slate. 4 games is a different story, but I would probably not play Anthony Davis tonight for that reason. He's just not gotten there for 2 years.
Yeah, I have 15% right now on FanDuel. I think it's a little bit different with him being a power forward than a center. I don't think that I would love paying 11.6 for him on DraftKings when there are guys that I could just as easily play Jokic for 9,500.
Someone says, remember when LeBron was 0-7 against the Heat until the other night? That's not true. LeBron had 65 against the Heat a year or 2 ago. And enough was different there that I did mention that. Like, I did a show on the LeBron Heat day, and you didn't hear me say don't play LeBron against the Heat because he's not good against the Heat. I said they have better wing defenders, and I think this and that could go the other way. And again, LeBron had a really unlikely shooting 60 whatever percent from the field and making his first 5 threes in whatever game there. But yeah, I didn't bring that up. I'm presenting the data as I have it. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a good game, but that's enough where, and I've watched enough tape on it to know they do kind of sell out to try to stop Anthony Davis. So, and not having Elf out there makes that a little easier to do if you can take care of him and Drew, because you can ignore the Wesley Johnsons of the world and a couple other guys. But if I was going to play a Pelican tonight in a tournament, I would play Mirotic.
Really? That is not the words that I expected.
Yep. Well, there it is. Baines is starting.
He's not starting. They've already corrected that.
Okay.
It immediately corrected itself.
We were wrong. We were so wrong. Okay. I still see. Okay.
Oh, wait. No. You might be right now.
Last I have is Baines starting over Gordon.
Oh, so okay. So they changed that then, because they announced Irving, Brown, Tatum, Hayward, Horford. Oh, now it's Baines. Good call.
Baines. So makes Baines actually somewhat interesting as a punt here. Makes me a little less interested in Cody Zeller if you had some shares of that at 4K. Makes me like Jaylen Brown a little bit more. And obviously
loses the minutes because of Baines starting. If we get to Baines at like 19 or something.
Yeah, I think it's about right.
We barely even have to drop any minutes.
Not significant ones, no.
I mean, look, it's going to be really hard to get to someone like Aaron Baines on FanDuel with the amount of value that's out there and the things that are opened up. If you need it to fit in a little bit better on DK, I get it, but I can't imagine wanting to punt center today on FanDuel.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I mean, Jokic is underpriced on FanDuel too for the kind of upside he carries. Like, I think Jokic is my favorite of those guys. You agree? I certainly have no issue with Drummond. 87 for Gasol doesn't feel great. I would rather play 79 for Gobert there. DeAndre Ayton in tournaments certainly makes some sense. Barolo makes some sense. But yeah, I think those pay-up options of Embiid, Drummond, Jokic all stand out as pretty nice.
All right, I'm going to run my final crunch here. And just let that rip and start firing some questions at you if you're interested.
Larry Nance is starting. So I would go find some room for Larry Nance if you're playing on DraftKings FanDuel. That price isn't that exciting. DK, have Larry Nance in a matchup I don't super hate against Blake, and I don't think the ownership is very significant at all with everything else going on. So Larry Nance starting, I'm now somewhat interested in, certainly in tournaments. They're starting Osman at the 3, by the way, if you were curious about the other changes. So it's Sexton, Hood, Osman, Nance, Thompson. But now I have some interest that they're keeping him in the starting lineup. And again, with 7 minutes until lock, that makes some sense to me. Not out of play on FanDuel tournaments, because he can do steals and blocks, and your ownership is going to be, I think, 7% right now or something. That's pretty interesting. I got a couple questions for today about a couple guys on the Cavs. People ask me about Nwaba. I really don't think he gets enough time.
No, he's donezo now that if Korver's back.
Right, which we expect Korver back, so that and Nance starting, and now Osman's up at the 3. I just don't think he gets enough time. And again, he's still not that great of a fantasy guy anyway. So I probably wouldn't play any Nwaba with all these other interesting punts around. And a lot of people like Colin Sexton, I begrudgingly have to say he's just taking a lot of shots and getting a lot of minutes, and that's going to continue. So especially at the DK price, which is $900, $1,000 less, I don't hate it. I will say he's never put up a big, he has a game north of 30 fantasy points this year, I think. I think he has like a 32. And he does not have a fantasy-friendly game. He does not get steals or blocks at all. Gets very few assists for a point guard. Doesn't rebound that much. So, again, things really need to go your way. So I think I would still be under the field proportionately on Colin Sexton. But I understand the appeal on DraftKings. It's hard for me to object. He takes 15 to 18 shots and plays 35 minutes. And, the matchup with Detroit feels good on all levels. So, yeah, I sort of get it there, but just wanted to speak to Osman just wanted to speak to Sexton and Nwaba because I received a couple specific questions about that.
Yeah, no, of course. When that news came out, I'm super relevant. Let's go questions. I don't have any site here. Bagley or Kojo?
Kojo and Cash. Bagley, I think, is a fine tournament pivot. They're trying to find him some extra time. That price has obviously come down. Slightly better correlated with that game not staying close. So the more exposure you have to a guy like Bagley, the less you want to. I don't worry too much about Fox, and Fox is priced so goddamn well. I don't not play Fox because of Bagley. That would be the most backward thinking ever.
Yep.
But correlates a little badly with Hield, correlates a little badly with Cauley Stein, correlates a little badly with Paul George or Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook in tournaments is pretty interesting right now. I'm just saying.
He is.
Like
he is.
I'm just saying, I'll leave it at that. You're 3% Russell Westbrook against Sacramento on FanDuel has some real merit, and I would give him about an 80% odds of playing right now. This does not make sense if he's not going to play. Why the hell do you leave your 2 newborn children and go warm up and do the whole thing and then go, no, I changed my mind, I'm going to turn around and go home? That is the least Russell Westbrook course of action I've ever heard in my life. So I got a feeling he's going to go out there and give it a go. So
I assume he is too. We do want to remember that he was hurt. Like, it didn't start because of the kids.
Yeah, he's got a lot of rest, and then he went and he warmed up. I think he's going to give it a run. So just for what it's worth,
I think. Do they play in the next 2 days? Do they play Tuesday or Wednesday?
They play Tuesday, I believe.
They play tomorrow?
Hold on, I'll tell you in a second. No, they play Wednesday then. They don't have a back-to-back. I got what day I was on confused. They play Wednesday against the Warriors in Golden State. Which, so that is a game, I'll give you that.
So I'll say this much. I expect him to play that one.
I also expect him to play that one. We're in agreement there.
Do you think that game makes him more or less likely to play today?
I don't think it's relevant. I think he's there today and he wants to play. And since they don't have a game tomorrow, I don't think they give a shit. I suppose that game existing and being in Golden State makes it a scotch less likely he plays today. But again, for me, that's 68% as opposed to 70. I think he suits up and plays.
Do you scotch a lot, or are you mocking me? It's very much a big part of my vernacular in these shows.
I've had absolutely no idea. I may have picked it up and be, repeating it. The way, like, my wife, when we hang out with our friends who are Asian, starts to unintentionally adopt this really offensive Asian stereotypical accent, something like that. So I may have picked up on your usage of scotch and be emulating you. Like,
I was like, oh, well played.
I may be mockingbirding it a little bit, but it wasn't intentional. On no conscious level was I taking a dig there. You can
should have.
Can sure as shit bet I'm going to now.
Yeah. Now I've had you talk on these things for as long as you do, and the viewership starts to notice it and toss some of your key phrases back at you.
Great. No, I had not the first goddamn clue, but that's exceptional.
I've had people point out Skosh in Slack. Actually, I have
no idea. I would be surprised if I used it if you hadn't. Like, that now does seem to me to be probably apropos of something, but
LaMarcus Aldridge or Montrezl Harrell for FanDuel cash?
Aldridge.
Yeah,
I don't consider that close. I like Montrezl Harrell, but
he's too expensive.
There's even minutes issues there. I don't know. Maybe you get a Boban sighting. Maybe Gortat plays 11 minutes. Maybe he plays 19. Maybe I'm playing. I mean, obviously Aldridge has the back-to-back concern. So I will say there is that one, hey, maybe this doesn't go well thing with him. But other than that, yeah, I'm yes.
Gay or Lamb GPP doesn't say which site.
I'll go with Gay based on the news and everything. But I like both those guys. He's talking DK, I presume. I think Lamb is Lamb a 3 on FanDuel?
No.
Okay, well then there you
go. Way to read into
that. Quality analysis. That's what I got.
Yeah. What's your take on Donovan Mitchell?
He's underpriced on DK. I like having some exposure to someone in that game there, and he's probably my second favorite Jazz guy after Gobert. So it's a big slate. I can't like him over Devin Booker. I can't like him over a couple other guys. So I think he's a strong tournament play, and he's shown a willingness to take 35 shots. So that's that portends an upside if we know nothing else.
Any other questions? Blake and Diallo or Tobias and Temple? Jesus.
Blake and Diallo.
Yeah, I guess.
That's a fun one though. No, I mean Hamidou Diallo is gonna start almost certainly, and get some real time. So that's not guys 3,800 or whatever. Like, go ahead, get some Hamidou up in your life.
Holiday and Aldridge or DeRozan and Harris.
Which Holiday? I guess I can figure it out.
It's got to be Drew, right?
True. Yeah, it's not Aaron.
No.
About Holiday. Who was it again? DeRozan,
Holiday
Harris.
and Aldridge or DeRozan and Harris?
DeRozan and Harris in tournaments. Holiday and Aldridge and Cash.
Yeah.
Both pretty significantly.
B Jelly or Bogdan?
Bogdan at this point for me. I think that keeps increasing for him, and he's going to get his 25 no matter what. B Jelly won't necessarily. So I'd go with the other Bogdanovich, the other white meat.
What is this now?
Doesn't matter. We're locked.
Interesting stuff. We hit 1244. That'll work.
I'll do. We gotta get to 13 at some point this week. So.
Yeah.
We don't beg for likes enough. I'm told. Let me read this quote. Your show should beg for likes more. All the other shows beg for more likes. Apparently that's a thing. So you're the host. Beg for more likes.
It's a tough one on the live show.
Especially
on a day where there's a lot of stuff going on. And like a 4-gamer, I get it. It's hard on a 9-game slate. We don't get to enough so as it is.
That's true. I think we did a pretty good job. Covered all the points. I got to trash Anthony Davis for a little bit, so if he doesn't do well, I get to look good. That was key.
It's a crazy day, There's a lot of news, a lot of stuff up in the air.
Oh, we get to do a fun game of Daddy Like. Again, there's several 7 o'clock games, including the Tyreek game, so we'll see just how stupid that number came in.
Fired up.
What do we got?
I'm eating leftover bolognese, so I don't have to be anywhere for a hot meal.
Ooh, oh, nice. For a hot mess. Nice job with the ownership there. We had 66. Tyreek Evans, largest DK tournament, 64.
There it is.
Just looking at the one lineup my friend built here, I love all these other numbers. He's got 4 guys in going at 7 o'clock. Tyreek at 64. Okay, suck down the chalk, no problem. Butler at 5. Nance at 5. Gobert at 10. I like all of that. Daddy loves this. This is Daddy loving 4 men at once.
I would say I like Butler the most out of the numbers that you gave me.
Yeah, me too. Gobert, I like the least of those. Gobert, I would have hoped to get a little better. Gobert, I'm fine with. Don't get me wrong, 10%. That's you're still. Again, as I frequently say, I think the way people rank ownership, and I'm curious your take on this because you're more of an ownership guy than I am, and you're more into that sort of thing than I. I think as the numbers get smaller, the ratio of ownership is misstood. And what I mean by that is people look at a guy who has 10%, or like, well, look at these 2 guys. You have Nance at 5 and Gobert at 10. And people will say, like, Nance's ownership is twice as good as Gobert's. And I disagree with that functionally. I think you look not quite purely at the inverse, but closer to the inverse, where when Gobert scores, you advance on 90% of the field. And when Nance scores, you advance on 95% of the field. That's better, but I don't think it's actually twice as good.
No, I'm with you.
So that's just a narrative. I have that conversation a lot, and people will be like, I like these 2 guys the same, but at half the ownership. And they're technically speaking correct there, but I think people don't correctly weight those margins in that way, I guess is what I'm...
Yeah, well, I would say it's twofold. One, I would say that most people just say it incorrectly and don't know what they're saying. And I would say the other half sort of mean what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm with you. It's like when a team makes a trade and their odds to win the title go from like 80-1 to 60-1, and people are like, "Oh, it dropped so much." It's like, yeah, but it didn't. It moved from like 4% to 5%.
Right. Okay. All right. So I'm right with you there. So our game of Daddy, like by far, with quadruple the ownership of anyone on the slate, almost Tyreek Evans, 64%. Number 2, Jeremy Lamb, 19%. A little surprising for me. It's a little higher than I would have thought. 5,100.
He had like a shockingly low price, didn't he?
Yeah, he was 51 on DK. So
and still no MKG.
He's still no MKG, and he's been really good. He's off the top of my head, he has 27 or more in 6 of his last 7 games, and something like that, and 30 or more in 5 of them or 4 of them. He has been really, really good. Now, for me, Boston and popular was enough to take me out of that conversation, but I got it. Just points made a lot of sense. Still 19%. I'd rather go somewhere else, but TJ Warren, 15%, about what we expected. Devin Booker, 13%. Daddy really likes that, especially a point guard. Let's load up and go to town here. Joel Embiid, 11%. Daddy loves. Donovan Mitchell, 11%. Daddy loves. DeAndre Ayton, 11%. Okay. Gobert, 10%. I like more than Ayton at 11, I think. I feel safe in saying. Simmons, 9.6. So there's your guy, single digits.
Yeah.
And again, I'm surprised by that. I really thought Butler would be more owned than Simmons, and is not even close to it. And I'm not sure quite where I'm misjudging that. We're coming off, like, I think Butler.
I think that was a price thing.
Yeah, but Butler was 79. Simmons was 9 flat, which I guess is more cheap for Simmons by a bit, like relative to what it's sort of in the zeitgeist expect them to be, if you will.
Actually, I'm with you. I'm surprised. I would have had more Butler. I forgot Butler was $1,000 cheaper than Simmons.
Yeah, he's 79. Like, I like Butler. I even like Butler on FanDuel at 85. But like, I thought the starting shooting guards on FanDuel wanted to be Booker and Schroeder most of the day. And then when I thought Westbrook was going to start, even though I think there's a number of ways Schroeder can still get there, that moved it to Booker and Butler for me. With just the heuristic lineup I'm toying around with here. I ended with Booker and Butler sitting in this thing that didn't get entered into anything.
Well, go Ben Simmons.
You're curious, my FanDuel final tinkering lineup was Kojo and Bryn Forbes, so the double FanDuel punt. Butler, Booker, Tyreek, Ariza, 4,500, getting back in there. He's starting. I actually kind of like the matchup. And he's not, like, I don't know, as bad as everyone thinks. I'll put it that way. Blake Griffin, Tobias Harris, and Nikola Jokic. So big men, large men.
Ariza. You prefer Ariza at 45 there than Bridges?
I think so, for what I expect to be even lower ownership. But let's see what their ownerships were on the Deke.
Wait, was that FanDuel or DK that you just read me?
That was FanDuel that I read to you. I'm just going to look at their ownerships on DK because I happen to have that up in front of me. On DK, Ariza was 3%. Bridges was 4%.
Bridges is 5% in the tournament I'm in FanDuel right now.
I'm betting Ariza is 2%.
It would probably take me 15 years to find him.
Yeah, I would think they're yeah, exactly. You have to click through on FanDuel. But he's whatever, he's 2-3. He's going to be less. So, yes, at the less ownership, I did think that was a fun thing, and that's why I tapped over to it at the end. But I don't think this lineup actually got entered into anything. So, yeah, I can't tell you. But, yeah, at that point, I'd rather go with Ariza. He's, like, you're hoping he gets 35. FanDuel, you get the steal bonus, and he's a guy who can pick up a few of those. So, yeah, barely I think I would have gone there. But also you were spending a little more on Ariza, so. Just the money happened to afford it. And I think he was last click in. I don't
know. Joel Embiid in my tournament, 13%. I have double the field of Embiid here in a situation where he's going to tell DeAndre Ayton to suck it.
Yeah, he's going to assert himself. He's gone from rookie to let me teach these rookies something in a real hurry. He made that transition. So Kyrie 9%, Sabonis 9%. That's what I thought. I had Sabonis. I got that one right. Usually the ownership projections nail me pretty good. I got that one right. Sabonis was a little higher than we thought. Drummond 8% feels pretty good.
I have double that on FanDuel. He's at 10 here.
Yeah, sounds right. Miles Turner 8%. Okay, that's smart crowd. 7% Sexton. Sure. Bojan 6.5. Kojo 6.4. So actually Bojan 6.45. Kojo 6.42. Okay, that seems about right. A tougher spot for Bojan for me. I want the ball handler, not the spot shooter against this particular defense. But now, obviously, can both still get there. Batum 6.3, Tristan 6.2, Blake 5.7, Butler 5.5, as we alluded to. Nance 5.3. Pretty excited about that. Hope we got some people on that. Tatum 4.6, Nwaba 4.5. That he does not like. I'm taking the under 20 minutes for Nwaba, and you're dealing with some trouble getting to 20 fantasy points in 18 minutes with David Nwaba. Yeah. 4.2 on Redick, 4 for Ingles, 4 for McCall Bridges, 3.9 for Mike Muscala, 3.9 for Darren Collison. Okay. That definitely, there is, the last game didn't go great for him, and he only played the 26 or whatever, but you could get 35 minutes and 45 fantasy points out of him here. Really actually would not shock me. Kemba, 4%. Brave Souls, 10K they played up.
Yeah, that's a tough price point to sell.
Ooh, the dude just did the 80, but you're paying. I'd rather play Rubio 2.5%. I'd be more inclined to go there.
Sure.
Thad 3.3, Favors 2.8, Ariza 2.8, Horford 2.8. Horford wasn't in a bad spot. Power forward eligible 6K. kind of liked Horford's been pretty decent in this spot, so I wouldn't have hated him. Rubio 2.5, Cody Zeller 2.5 for 4K. I didn't hate Wilson Chandler 2, Aaron Baines 2, Jaylen Brown 1.87. I like that at 4,200 on DK. That's kind of exciting. Marvin 1.4, Gordon Hayward 1.4, Reggie Jackson 1.3, Jordan Clarkson 1.25, Reggie Bullock 1.2, Jay Crowder 1.1, Langston Gallery 1.1, Chetty Osman 1.1, Fultz 1.1. Yeah, I don't hate that one. He's down into the threes now. Blowout possibility. Like, I kind of like that Fultz play, actually. Stan 0.8, Aaron Holiday 0.75, Rodney Hood 0.71. That price has come down a lot, so I can see that. Marcus Morris 0.65, Ish 0.58. Yeah, for 3,900 against the Cavs. I like half a percentage on Ish Smith.
Yeah.
Rashawn Holmes 0.5, revenge. There it is. Marcus Smart 0.3, Josh Jackson 0.3, Miles Bridges 0.3. You have to wonder how many of those were misclicks on M Bridges. Dante Exum 0.26, Isaiah Kanan 0.25. You're drawing slim on that one now. You're drawing slim on that working out for you. Terry Rozier 0.24, Glenn Robinson III 0.19, Tony Parker 0.19, Malik Monk 0.17, Jamal Crawford 0.16. That's spicy. Guillermo Hernan Gomez 0.14, Doug McDermott 0.12. Look, I know Oladipo is out, and I guess this is where it's going to happen if ever, but Doug McDermott is never the answer. It's a worse than Dorian Finney-Smith trying to be the answer. The guy doesn't do anything. Like, him and TJ Leaf on the same team is hilarious. Like, they could go the entire year and collectively not get, 10 assists and 10 rebounds.
They really could.
There's some of the worst peripheral guys ever. Andrew Harrison 0.09, Amir Johnson 0.09, Bacon 07, Burks 05, Shamet 04, McConnell 04, Korver 03, Royce O'Neal 03, Royce to 5'9", that is, Daniel Tice 02, Furkan Korkmaz 02, Elia Kobo 02. I'm going to go with congratulations, you played yourself there. He is not on the active roster. I believe he is currently still with their G League affiliate. I'm stomping there on Elia Kobo.
Wait, you don't get their G League stats?
That would be incredible. Can you imagine that? Oh my God.
G League DFS?
I take this guy on the 87ers.
That's the same team I was going to name because it was the only one I could think of. And I don't think they're the 87ers anymore.
Really?
I'm almost positive they changed the name, but I could be wrong. Somebody changed their name this year.
You know why they were the 87ers?
They're more than the 76ers? I know, they're still the 87ers.
Okay. Declaration of Independence was signed in 1776.
They're not. They're the Delaware Bluecoats now.
Okay. Constitution was signed in 1787. I presume is the illusion. I've never looked it up, but I assume, much like 1776 is referring to, I don't know. Anyhow, but just to be complete, Victor Oladipo 0.01. Congratulations, you played yourself.
Yeah, they are the Delaware Bluecoats now, which is not a better name.
We're destroying American history.
Delaware was the first state to ratify the U.S. Constitution in 1787.
That is absolutely correct. I knew that. In fact, their license plates, I think, still say first to ratify. I think is their line on the bottom. But you're absolutely correct.
I mean, I was just reading it.
You were.
I didn't know it.
God damn it! I'm gonna educate all of you. I swear to God.
I mean, I could have put a couple guesses in that would have been in that genre, but
I thought 13 or less. Hopefully.
I didn't think that something really good happened in 1987 for whatever. Great
stuff happened in 1987. Are you kidding me? I was
2.
Yeah, I was older.
Yeah, I was not.
I was supposed to getting, I was getting beat up in middle school. Basically 1987 in a nutshell for me.
About wrap it up?
I guess.
Alrighty. Best of luck, everybody. You will have
0.01%. You also played yourself.
You will have Chris and Eddie back for their Tuesday and Wednesday. No NBA content on Thursday. No games.
Oh my God, you're getting the best week ever. Look at you.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not upset about it.
You should do Wednesday or Friday. You're just screwing Chris and me.
No, yeah, that's Chris can worry about it. Shout out, Chris. You're still watching. Best of luck, everybody. Live before lock, the promo code if you're still here and you want to join up. 7-day free trial on any package you would choose. And hit that like button if you're still listening because that's super helpful.
I did the whole show with my microphone back, by the way.
Yeah, you were fine. Oh, I don't notice it ever. I didn't notice it any time that people were like, "Oh, he's quiet." I would open up the video and be like, "Oh, Eddie sounds fine," and then I would just shut it again. So I don't.
I sit here and I'm really impressed with my knowledge of American history, and I'm such a smart guy. And the move of when you start the show, pick up your microphone and move it a foot forward has eluded me through some 30-odd shows this year. So just find it particularly funny. I can't put my pants on straight, but I'm trying to be the smart guy in the room. So
We'll get there when we get there, I guess.
it's a long season. I think 6 months or so. I'm going to have this microphone. There have been at least 3 shows this year where before the show started, I moved the microphone up. I was very proud of myself. I almost started the show by going microphone in position already, but it's a struggle. Struggle is real.
Alrighty, everybody. Best of luck. We'll talk to you later.